What's going on, FBA newbies? In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Alibaba. So, starting off with Alibaba, there's a few things you need to know up front. One, they are not a manufacturer, they are not a wholesaler, they are not a distributor, they are simply a website that connects you wherever you're at as a retailer with a wholesaler in another country, specifically and most frequently China. Now, there are wholesalers in other countries, but they're fewer and far between. You will mainly be dealing with Chinese wholesalers on this site. Now, there's a few things that this site is good for. One, obviously, finding a wholesaler, but two, finding products. I know a lot of people who are watching this probably use Jungle Scout or Amaze Owl, FBA Toolkit, or some other form of research for products. You can also get product ideas by coming to Alibaba, clicking on all categories, and just sifting through all of the different types of products that wholesalers in China and wholesalers in other locations sell on the site. It's definitely a good way to brainstorm and get ideas about what you could be selling. So, once you do have a specific product, how do you search and find good suppliers and avoid the scammers? Because yes, there are people on Alibaba who will take your money. There's definitely stories of people who have bought stuff on here and they never received their product and they lost money big time. And there's stories of people who got product that was just absolute garbage. So how do you avoid that? Well, I think the most basic and easiest way to answer that is make sure your supplier is a gold or assessed supplier. Do not deal with any other supplier. Do not deal with anyone that doesn't have those certifications. So just because you see this trade assurance means nothing. All trade assurance means is that this person or individual is a registered business. They have not been verified by anyone from Alibaba. Now, if you're a gold supplier, that means you had to go through hoops, you had to fill out paperwork, and you had to have someone from Alibaba come in person to your place of business and do an inspection and verify that, yes, this is a legitimate business and this supplier is not ripping people off. Now, just because someone's a gold supplier does not mean that they're great to deal with and that they're not some kind of scammer. There is definitely the possibility that someone who has only been a gold supplier for a year was able to pull the veil over the inspector's eyes and get gold supplier status. So I typically like to avoid gold suppliers who have only been that type or had that certification for a year or less. Typically, I like 2 years or more. Now, assess suppliers. These are the most trustworthy suppliers. You can definitely trust them. They have to go through all kinds of hoops and they have to make payments and they do all kinds of things to verify that, yes, they are a legitimate factory or wholesaler. So, depending on your risk tolerance, you can choose only assessed suppliers or you can look at both gold and assessed suppliers. But by all means, do not go after anyone who only has trade assurance. So we're looking at the can opener example, and I can filter to only view listings offered by gold or assessed suppliers. Now, if I only want to look at assessed, obviously I can uncheck the gold, and boom, these are all assessed suppliers. Now, it doesn't tell you on the side here whether they're assessed or not. It just tells you that, yes, this is a gold supplier, and this person's been a gold supplier for 6 years. Now, there's other ways you can filter through your listing. Right here on the side, it gets into the product specifics. If you're looking for a specific type of can opener, maybe you're looking for just jar openers, not can openers, then this will show you jar openers. So right here, we have a electric jar opener, and this is from a gold supplier who has been a gold supplier for 6 years. The next thing that I like to pay attention to is transaction volume. The more transactions in my mind, the better, because only a factory or the wholesaler, the person who's actually making the product, is going to be able to turn inventory fast. If there's only a few sales here and there, and they're smaller sales, say for $20,000 or less, it might not be the actual factory that is making that listing. So if I look right here, you can see that this listing is from a supplier who's been a gold supplier for 8 years. They are an assessed supplier as well, as you will see when I click in here. And they've had 75 transactions in the past 6 months, and their revenue is over $120,000. Odds are this is the actual wholesaler. So let's go in here. Yes, as you can see, disappeared. As you can see right here, this is an assessed supplier. I would feel very confident that this supplier is a good one to deal with. Now, I'm not going to make that assumption without contacting this supplier. So what I'll do is if I review their listing and I decide, hey, I like the way this product looks, and I think that from just the information that I have available to me that this is a good supplier, I will come down here and I will send a message to the supplier directly. Now there's 2 ways you can go about doing this. You can type out a message to each supplier you contact, or you can use a template. I personally use a template because I like to ask the same types of questions. I like to determine whether the person I'm talking to is knowledgeable about the product. If they are not knowledgeable, then that gives me a good indication that this person hasn't really done much dealing with this product in the past, and they might not be the best supplier to work with. I also like to know things such as the dimensions, the weight, so that I can calculate how much the product's shipping cost will be. I also like to know the tariff code and a few other things. So if you're interested in the template that I use personally to send out messages to suppliers, just click on the link below and I will send you that for free. So once you've picked suppliers to send messages to, then just wait for their response, and you will then get an idea of who is good to work with and who is not. Once you've done that, then narrow your choice down to 2 suppliers, order a sample from each, determine which one's better, and go with the one that's better. You might also determine that both of them are garbage. One very important thing to do, and this is one thing I always do, is when I'm getting down to the moment where I'm going to buy a product from a supplier, or I'm going to do a bulk order, I want to compare the quality of whatever I'm purchasing to the best listing on Amazon. So I will go and I will purchase that product from the best listing on Amazon, and I'll compare it to the one that I got, the sample. And that'll help me determine whether I can go forward and do a bulk order. So I hope this helps. Definitely give me some feedback in the comment box below. If you like my content, then hit the subscribe button. And I hope the best to you. Keep working hard, keep learning, don't give up. The dream's real, you can do it. Alrighty, have a good one.